What's up everybody, welcome back to Rock and Groove. Today we're going to be talking about the 4 major tips, 4 warnings really, for parents with kids in guitar lessons. Hey everyone, welcome back to Rock and Groove. Jay here. Today we're going to be talking about something very important, especially for parents that are going to put their kids in guitar lessons. Now this doesn't matter if it's Zoom, or if it's some kind of virtual guitar lesson, or if it's face-to-face, in person at a local guitar shop, or at a local guitar lesson shop. One thing that we really have to keep in mind is that you're going to be spending money doing this more than likely. Unless you go over to Rock and Groove, where we offer tons of free guitar lessons and tutorials, and I really stress the word free. We're never going to ask you to donate to a Patreon or do anything like buying tabs, buying material, anything like that. We provide everything that you need on our page. But let's just say a lot of parents want to take their kids directly to a local guitar lesson shop. There are a lot of things you need to keep in mind, and number one is if you do that, you are going to be spending money. Prices vary, of course, but regardless, it doesn't matter if you have a little bit of money to spend or a lot of money to spend, you're going to be spending money. You're going to be giving someone money, so you expect a good return. And in doing that, I want you to understand that when you go into these, your guitar instructors are typically contract, meaning that they are getting paid by the lessons. So whether or not someone shows up, if a student comes in and stays with them for a while then drops out, they will either make money or lose money. So they want to keep you happy, especially mom and dad or whoever is paying for the lessons. They want you to stay happy. So keep that in mind. At the same time, they don't want to lose your money. So what we can do to keep your kid interested and wanting to play guitar and wanting to go back to these lessons time and time again. Number one, understand that this is play, not work. We have to get the student to understand that this is something fun and it's playtime. Now of course, it also doesn't mean that this is time to act goofy and play around with the guitar and not paying any attention. It's a good fun time, but it's not work. And the problem with that is if you start to put into the kid's head that they're having to go to lessons and they got to put in the work and they got to do things like that, you will start to create burnout really quick, lose interest. And if you do that at a really young age, you will burn out the student really fast and they'll never want to go back. And they'll lose that desire to even want to play an instrument when they get older. So you have to instill into the student that this is a situation that's fun and that they're playing. You want to make it to where they are wanting to go back, knowing that it's going to be a fun time, that they're not going to have the pressure of treating it like homework and having to sit down and really break their brain over something. Not to mean it's not going to be challenging, we want it fun for the student. Number two, and this doesn't even have to be for parents helping their children to be guitar players and go into lessons. This could be for any beginner guitar player. Start off with songs you love. Don't go into lessons wanting to learn scales. Don't go into lessons with the instructor trying to teach about theory, or even bring in a bunch of old songs that no one cares about. You want to go in focusing on what your student wants. So let's just say that my 6-year-old son wants to learn some classic rock. I'm going to make sure that my lessons are tailored to him to bring in the idea and the notion and the sounds and everything, all the types of playing techniques of classic rock. Of course, I'm going to bring in other styles at times to really build an eclectic sense with him, but it's all going to be focused on classic rock. I'm not going to bring in some very old-time, traditional picking. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love a lot of that personally. But for him, all that's going to do is if I focus him on playing something really old, something completely out of his interest, it's going to destroy his desire and he's going to want to quit really, really, really fast. You want your kids, you want your students, you want yourself to be able to go in and start playing something that you like really fast. And when I used to do one-on-one guitar lessons at a local shop, the first thing I would do is try to get the students to pick a song they like. And I'd find the easiest note, and probably the root, the main chord inside of that song, and I'd have them playing that note by the end of the night. That right there was enough to really get them excited and wanting to come back to do more. And that's what we want, is for the student to have fun. Number three, avoid the practice dungeon. I call it the practice dungeon because of this. When you go to lessons, Your learning will come 10% from the lesson and 90% from practicing at home. So you have to understand that not picking up the guitar at all and just going and picking up at your lessons is not going to teach you guitar, and you're not going to get good at it, and it's going to be a month after month of stifled progress. So how do we keep from doing that? Well, a lot of folks will come in and tell their kids, they will tell their students, they'll tell their friends, they'll tell anybody, hey, you need to sit down and you need to have a regiment of so long of practice every day. Now, don't get me wrong, practicing and devoting time towards practicing is good, but when I call it the practice dungeon, that is more anything you trying to tell yourself that I have to practice and getting it in almost like this torturous job in your head that you have to do no matter what, and it stops being fun and it starts to be torture, like in a dungeon. And so that's what happens with a lot of folks, a lot of students, a lot of younger students. I've seen a lot of young students think that when they go home they've got to practice, and what does that mean? It's like telling them you got to go do an hour or two of homework. It's not fun. So that really kills their drive. I always tell students to take time and bite it off in little bits, like little snacks. And what I used to do when I started learning guitar at 16, I would go in the morning, first thing I do when I wake up and get ready for school, I'd do it fast so I had time for some guitar. I'd go in there and spend about 10 minutes just picking around, working on what I was doing, put it down, go to school, come back home. As soon as I got home, I'd pick a little bit. And what I would do throughout the rest of the evening, even on the weekends when I had all day off, I would go in at weird times, just randomly. I'd walk by, grab my guitar, and pick at it. And then I'd put it down, and I'd leave it alone. And then I'd come back and do that back and forth throughout the whole day. And of course, there were plenty of times where I'd want to go in, and I'd want to sit down and play as long as I possibly could. But even if I didn't have the time to sit down and practice as I'm told to do, I still went in and it was almost like I reminded my brain and reminded my hands, and I worked on muscle memory. So it wasn't about how long I was practicing, it was about how many times I challenged my hands, how many times I reminded my hands and my brains what to do. So don't fall into the practice dungeon. The last thing, number 4, that I always tell my students, and I tell myself also when I'm starting to play and learn something new, there is an order. 3 particular points that you have to follow in a particular order when you are learning new material. And if you don't do this, you're going to bog yourself down, and you're going to wear yourself out, and it'll depress you, and you'll want to quit. So what is that? Number 1, when you're starting to play a chord, a note, a song, anything at all, start with accuracy. And what I mean by that is make sure you're playing the note accurately, pushing with the right part of your finger, holding the guitar the right way, all of that stuff. Play it accurately. Play the chord accurately. Number 1. Number 2 is tone. Make sure that when you pick out the strings, when you pluck, you strum, it sounds good. It not only is accurate in the way you hold it, but it also sounds good when you strum it. Then finally, number 3 is speed. And this is always important because a lot of students I've seen will come in and they'll want to play something fast. They want to play fast solos. They want to play really fast thrash, metal chords. They want to do a lot like that. They want to do some country picking, some fingerstyle picking. They want to go fast. And I'll tell them, stop, slow down. You cannot go fast yet. Of course, don't want to think about, I can't go fast. You want to understand that it's not about going fast, it's about going and sounding good. Because you can go as fast as you want, but your sound's going to be garbage. We don't want that. So what do we need? We need to, number 1, play your note accurately. We want to make sure that when we play it, it sounds good. And then finally, speed will pick up naturally when you work on the first 2. When your accuracy and tone really get good, you progressively start to get faster. And that is what makes sure that when we play fast, it sounds good and doesn't sound like a load, just a garbled garbage altogether. So those are 4 really quick tips for parents, or anybody really, wanting to take guitar lessons. Make sure that you are playing and not working. Have fun with it. Make sure that you're playing in areas that you like, with songs you love and songs that you want to learn. Make sure that you don't put into your own head or into your student's head or your kid's head that you have to practice a certain amount of time and you have to constantly practice and you have to work at it so hard, because it's just going to bog them down and completely turn them off. You'll get nowhere with it. And then make sure that you focus on the 3 most important parts of learning, which is accuracy, tone, and then speed. Again, thank you very much for watching Rock and Groove. If you have any questions, please leave us some comments down there. Like, subscribe, Check out our other videos. We have a giveaway going on. We always want to have giveaways going on. We also have videos on gear review. We have videos on tutorials and general technical questions. Check out our channel, like it, subscribe. Check us out on Instagram as well. Like, subscribe. I can't say it again. Like and subscribe. Thank you, and remember, have fun more than anything. Have fun.